At first, I like Malik Washington. I thought that was a great quarterback prospect for Penn State. Then Pennsylvania prospect Max Zollers rises through the rankings. Now the Nittany Lions are faced with a tough decision as far as who they're going to take for that 2025 quarterback spot.
You are Locked On Nittany Lions, your daily podcast on the Penn State Nittany Lions. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I mean, I thought Malik Washington was the guy, and then Matt Zollers emerges in state in Pennsylvania, and Penn State, could they take three quarterbacks? I think that's kind of out of the question here. This is Locked On Nittany Lions. I'm your host, Zach Seyko, and thanks so much for making us your first listen and watch every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers join today, and you'll get $200 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more is a winner. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. We welcome him back, the recruiting expert, site manager over at HappyValleyInsider.com, Penn State rivals. That is Dylan Callaghan-Croley, to talk all things recruiting here in a part one, part two, offensive focus and a defensive focus. We'll have him back to talk defense as well. But quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs, oh my. Dylan, let's begin with the quarterbacks because, yes, I think it would be awesome if Penn State could get three quarterbacks, but you have Bakeem Kritza, who's already committed. Unless you're able to secure Washington and Zollers, maybe Kritza decommits, but this isn't what the conversation's about. Zollers and Washington are two highly touted four stars. I like Malik Washington a lot. I was sold on him as the guy that Penn State was going to get. He's visited, I think, Penn State almost close to a dozen times. And then Matt Zollers becomes one of the top five quarterbacks across the entire country in this, rise through the rankings. Zollers is expected to visit this week. His commitment is coming very soon, I think in April. And what does that leave for Malik Washington as Penn State in his top six? So what's your preference at this point? I like Malik Washington, but then Matt Zollers comes along.
Yeah, so Matt Zollers, like you said, visiting this week. I think it's scheduled for Friday that he's going to be on campus. And that is obviously a big visit for Zollers. His commitment date is coming up on April 4th. So we are, about 9 days away from that here, heading into next week. And into next Thursday. He taking the visit to Penn State, of course, also taking, I think, trips to Georgia, Missouri, and we'll visit Pittsburgh as well. And it sounds like there's another trip in the works. There was reports that he was going to be visiting Alabama. Haven't been able to confirm those just yet on my end, but that could be something to watch as well. Georgia notably did pick up a 2026 quarterback this week in Jared Curtis, high 4-star, 5-star prospect across the industry. So that could potentially affect Matt Zollers as well with Georgia. I know Georgia is still pushing for Juju Lewis in the class. But we'll see how that one goes. Right now, I feel like this is perhaps a Missouri-Penn State battle. But you bring up Washington, and it's going to be interesting because Washington, like you said, a kid who's visited campus a dozen times has already started setting up official visits. But one official visit he has not set up is to Penn State. And I think that's somewhat telling of perhaps Penn State and how they're going to go forward if Matt, or I should say with the quarterback crew going forward. Even if Zollers would, if they felt good about Zollers, you'd think maybe if they wanted to, they would be scheduling an official visit with Malik Washington. He obviously has a high level of interest if he's been to campus 12 times. But that official visit hasn't been scheduled yet, which I think is quite notable. And it may be a little bit telling of just where he is maybe on Penn State's board or how they feel about maybe just going with one quarterback if Matt Zollers decides to go elsewhere. So I think that's the interesting part of this whole thing is just Malik Washington for all the visits, still no official visit to Penn State. And like I said, I think that's somewhat telling of the situation.
I like them both a lot. I feel like Penn State can't go wrong with either of them. Now, my personal preference, I haven't, I'll be honest, I haven't seen Zollers play in person. I've seen Washington throw in person because he was at the Elite 11 camp in State College, and frankly, he was the best junior. I'd argue and say that's fact, but in my opinion, I thought he was the best class of 2025 quarterback that was there, and honestly, better than a lot of the 2024 quarterbacks
Sure.
that were there in that on that, early summer day in State College as well, just a year ago. So I like what I've seen out of Washington. I like his confidence. I like his swagger. I think that, Penn State can't go wrong either way. But Dylan, so then is there a worst case scenario where Penn State happens to lose both because they've shown a lot of interest in Zollers? And then, like you said, it comes down to Penn State and Missouri. And then because of all that attention to Zollers, then Malik Washington's looking elsewhere with that no official visit. So can this get really out of hand, or are they almost guaranteed to land one of them?
No, I wouldn't say they're guaranteed to land one of them. Do I think there's a good chance they land one of them? Absolutely, but there's no guarantees in recruiting. I think Missouri and Penn State are, neck and neck in this recruitment based off what I've heard. Perhaps he is leaning more towards one way, but Missouri has had a lot of hype in this recruitment. I should say there's a lot of hype surrounding Missouri in this recruitment. And they got SEC NIL that they can throw around. And we'll see how much of an NIL impact or how much of an impact NIL has in his ultimate decision. Because in recruiting, those things will come out, whether it's sooner or later. And then, Washington could definitely end up elsewhere if considering, that they've definitely been putting more pressure, I would say, on Zollers here over the last few weeks and months than they have Malik Washington. I think it's definitely possible that both end up elsewhere. And Penn State ends up with just one quarterback in this class, which I think they would be fine with. I think they'd love to take two, but I think they'd be fine with just taking Kritza. They're very high on Kritza. They think he has the best arm talent in the country in this cycle. So it's not like they'd be disappointed, but I think if they can nab, especially Zollers here, they would be really ecstatic with what they're doing at quarterback in this cycle.
Right, and Zollers is, more of a passer, but he does have that dual threat element to him. And same thing with Malik Washington. They are pro-style quarterbacks with a dual threat element, kind of like the Ethan Grunkmeyer. And what we've seen from Drew Aller. Dylan, real quick to wrap up this first segment, would you rather Penn State, you see them take Matt Zollers or Malik Washington? Who's your pick?
It's a good one. I think I'd lean Zollers just because it's very rare for Penn State to have this type of quarterback talent in their backyard. And I think keeping that type of elite quarterback talent at home is important because it sends a message that, they've been serious about keeping in-state prospects home. But, it wouldn't necessarily look great if they lost, the number one quarterback in the state and one of the better quarterbacks to come out of the state since, well, obviously Kyle McCord, I guess, would be up there. But he very well may be better quarterback than Kyle McCord. And that we'll obviously have to wait and see on that. But I think Zollers is, I would guess you could say, the more important target here just because he is in that backyard. And if you can get him, develop him, that's going to be a big boost in state, especially, with those quarterbacks closer to Philadelphia. Penn State's missed on a few over the years. And I think Zollers right now for me.
Now they need players to throw to. They need targets. Lyric Samuel's committed in the class of 2025. It sounds like Marques Hagans is going on a hot streak, but who are those next wide receivers that could commit in this 2025 class? We'll discuss that more on this upcoming segment of Locked On Nittany Lions. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel, the official sportsbook of Locked On. Say goodbye to busted brackets because FanDuel lets you bet on every game of the tourney. Whether you're betting on a big upset or you're betting on a number one seed to move on, it's time to go dancing on America's number one sportsbook, FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 in bonus bets to use on point spreads, money lines, totals. You can even pick who's going to win it all. All you got to do is visit FanDuel.com/lockedon. That is FanDuel.com/lockedon and bet on college hoops until they cut down the nets. Today's episode is also brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors is everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to its peak performance. From superchargers to roof racks to exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more, Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. That's ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day long? Have to turn down the volume with all of that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all of that yelling, all of that screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you the can't miss analysis, the opinions, the news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or on the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Do us a favor, like the episode, share it with friends and family. Let us know in the comments who you would have at quarterback, what your preference is, Zollers or Washington. And if you want to keep up with what Dylan does, you can follow him on X, and you can check out happyvalleyinsider.com for his writing work. Wide receiver is just as important because the class of 2024 was a good start for Marques Hagans, and we saw what the on-field production was. So they need these recruits. And then here's 2025 with a lot of upside in Lyric Samuel, but there are rumors, Dylan, and you know this as a recruiting expert here with the Penn State focus, that there are plenty of rumors as far as who Penn State is targeting, and you put in projections, other people have put in projections where Penn State can land a wide receiver, and then they're setting up official visits with guys like Taz Williams, who are very talented and looked at, highly regarded across the country. So where does Penn State stand right now with the wide receiver position, and could somebody commit soon?
Commit soon? Possibly. I think they're in a good spot with quite a few guys. I mean, if you look over at Happy Valley Insider, PennState.Rivals.com, we have future cast in for 3-star Harrisburg, technically Susquehanna Township, but Harrisburg native Lex Cyrus, an in-state speedster that I think Penn State would love to add to their wide receiver room. And then there's Maryland 4-star wide receiver Jeff Exiner, who we also have a future cast in for. Really like where Penn State sits in that recruitment as well. I think those two have a pretty high chance of ending up in the Lions when it's all said and done. But even beyond those, you look down in Texas, you've got a pair of guys in Kelshawn Johnson and Taz Williams, who you mentioned. Taz Williams, intriguing. I don't think Penn State leads there, but he is a Pittsburgh native, so perhaps that plays in to his recruitment at some point here. But like I've always said on these podcasts and others, Penn State getting these guys on campus is a win in itself, because Penn State knocks these official visits out of the park so often that, you may not end up winning the kid, but you may end up, being a bigger contender than anyone thought. Penn State's gone into these official visits, as you know, maybe the odd team out or the number 5 team out of 5, and a kid comes out of recruitment with, Penn State as number 1 or number 2, and sometimes they land the kid, sometimes they don't. But I'd be watching those two. And then you got Nashawn Montgomery out of Miami, really intriguing prospect, obviously. He's down at Miami Central now, where what makes that really interesting is Beckham Kurtz is down there now, but so is Keandre Barker. They're both going to be at Miami Central next year. Could that play a factor in that recruitment? I know there's been some momentum towards Penn State's way on the interwebs over the last few weeks. It looked like, but and I think Penn State is a legitimate contender there, but I'm not at a point yet where I'm going to say that I feel like Penn State has a great shot at landing Montgomery, but I do think that they're a legitimate contender to land Montgomery, and that would be a hell of a pickup for Marques Hagans and the Nittany Lions. So, only one wide receiver commit right now, but I think there's 2 or 3 more on the way, and there could be 2 or 3 more in this class by July.
What about the state of New Jersey? I think that gets interesting with names like Quincy Porter and Desi Jones. And for some listeners, viewers, that might be the first time you're hearing about these names. These are very talented players, 3-star, teetering into that 4-star area with the potential to rise through the rankings. You get Khalil Ahmad back from Syracuse, right? That was part of the reason that he went up there was, the presence that he has in New Jersey. So Fran Brown doesn't become as much of a threat. Does Penn State pick any names up from New Jersey, or is it going to be focused, somebody from Texas, somebody from Florida, in-state in Pennsylvania, or does New Jersey factor into this?
No, I think New Jersey still factors into this quite a bit. Names that pop out to me coming out of New Jersey right now. Offensive tackle Malachi Goodman is one of the Nittany Lions' top offensive linemen. Target's still 6'5", 315. I believe. Let me double check. If he hasn't set up an official visit just yet, he's going to probably in the near future. Doesn't look like his profile has one, but I'll double check that later. Malachi Goodman, a name to really know. I'd almost be shocked if he doesn't take an official visit. They obviously have Michael Troutman committed. Jameer Joseph, cornerback, is a cornerback out of New Jersey, Montville, New Jersey. He's scheduled an official visit recently. Somebody to watch in the secondary recruitment, especially going forward. Deshaun Stewart, another cornerback, could be a name to watch there, though I believe that's another one to watch. He scheduled an official visit for 6/21, was just on campus last week. So there's a couple of guys out of New Jersey that they're definitely still in on, and I expect them to pick up, I would say, 2 or 3 these guys, considering how these recruitments are heading as they stand right now. Jameer Joseph, especially, I mean, that's number 2 prospect in New Jersey. I know a lot of people are going to want Quincy Porter. I think that's going to be a tough one for Penn State to pull. A lot of SEC pull there. I think NIL could end up being big there. Kamar Archie already narrowed down his recruitment and not include Penn State. And then there's a couple, other guys out there. Braswell Thomas, Cameron Miller, Desi Jones, Halim Muhammad. A bunch of those, a couple other guys that you could mention there that are worth mentioning will probably end up taking official visits, but maybe a little bit more down the board or a little bit more cloudy recruitment right now. But a couple of those guys I mentioned, Goodman, Joseph especially, are 2 to really keep an eye on as we head into official visit season, which, it seems like a far time away, but we're already heading into April next week. So official visit season, I mean, there are official visits around the country happening as soon as I think the first week of April. So we're about to head into a really busy time in the college football recruiting calendar, and that includes Penn State.
Ideally at wide receiver, Penn State is targeting at a minimum of 3, but maybe they could get into the neighborhood of a 4th or a 5th wide receiver in this class of 2025 if the cards do line up that way. Now, running back, they already have 2 committed. You mentioned Keandre Barker, who's now down at a Florida high school, transfers over there from Texas. And then there's Tyke Hayes in State, but Penn State is pushing for a 3rd. Does that mean somebody is going to decommit? Let's discuss on the other side of this break. This week's March Madness Bracket Highlight is brought to you by our friends at Nissan. Each week, we're picking one team that stands out, a team that's pushed it further than the rest. And just like any of the all-new 2024 Nissan SUVs, these guys were able to take it to the next level. How about the Iowa State Cyclones? They can only be described as a Pathfinder. They've been thrilling to watch and have really created a lane for themselves, entering the tournament as one of the hottest teams in the country. They have a date with Illinois this Thursday in the Sweet 16. Take the Nissan Rogue, the Nissan Pathfinder, or the Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. Shop all of them and more right now at nissanusa.com. That is nissanusa.com. And remember, if you're not already, become an everydayer. Subscribe to Locked On Nittany Lions on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts for the latest conversations around your favorite Penn State sports teams. Also talk recruiting here as we are doing with Dylan. Check out his work at happyvalleyinsider.com, and you can just subscribe over there as well. And in this final segment, running back, well, Penn State traditionally over the past, 5 or 6 years, it's almost been a science. They get 2 running back commits, and then they split carries. And we've seen that as, this art that's been turned into a science here, where it works out very well with Nicholas Singleton and Katron Allen getting an exact amount, 50% of the work, and then they're able to last an entire season at full strength. That's the most important part of it. Oh, sure, they play 12, 13 games, but they're doing it at their best at 100%, and that's something that Franklin and J1 Sider have really focused on here. But now they're trying to go for a third because they have Tyke Hayes committed. They have Keandre Barker committed. But they're being very vocal that, yes, we are trying to take a third running back commit. So, yes, they want a third running back commit, Dylan, but does that mean that they're actually going to get one? Or would someone like Barker and Hayes decommit because there's just too many cooks in the kitchen here?
No, I mean, could they change their mind? Yeah, absolutely. But I think right now that Penn State has been pretty. I'm assuming Penn State. I should have asked this before, and I'll hit them up probably after this too. But the way I have understand it is, I think Penn State's been pretty straightforward to them guys, and and Penn State as a program is very straightforward to recruits in general, which is why I assumed it's safe to assume that they'd have. That they're going to take a third running. They're going to try to take a third running back in this class. I think. Yeah. I mean, they're not pushing hard for the Alvin Hendersons and Bo Jacksons and recruiting the guys like Jabri Wallace-Coleman's of the world just to waste some time.
Just cause.
Yeah, exactly. If they're recruiting these guys, they're interested in adding them to the class, and there's no worries from what I can tell about Tyke Hayes or Keandre Barker decommitted. Especially Hayes, especially in-state talent. That
yes,
I don't see anything happening there. And then Barker, Southern kid, always hard to keep hold of the Southern kids. He didn't play as a junior, so if he comes out has a big senior season, could that spark a whole new recruitment? Perhaps, but right now I hear nothing in terms of worries there. And then we've all seen them push for third running backs. They've set up official visits with third running backs. Jabri Wallace-Coleman announced his. Bo Jackson, I believe, will be taking an official visit. Alvin Henderson, I can't remember if they've officially scheduled one there yet, but I'd expect them to do so as well. Though, actually, I think Henderson's going to be on campus this spring. And yes, he'll be on campus this spring at some time. Because right now it sounds like Henderson could commit to a program sooner than later. If you're asking me my gut right now, I'd probably say Auburn. It's certainly been the school to beat for a while there. He's taken a ton of visits to Auburn. We talked about Malik Washington taking a dozen visits to Penn State. Right. I think Henderson's been to Auburn 12 or more times at least as well. So I think Auburn's the team to beat there, but he wants to see Penn State before he makes a commitment, and that's or a decision. I think that's big. He was supposed to be here in January, and Sider was kind of straightforward with him, saying like, "Hey, there's a cold front coming in this week. I don't want you visiting. I think you're going to have a bad visit if you come this weekend. Let's hold off and get you in the spring." And he's going to come back up in the spring. Now, the kid's going to have to, if the kid wants to go to Penn State, he's going to have to live with the cold at some point.
Yes.
But I totally get, like, if this is going to be your first impression of Penn State, let's not get you in here when it's going to be miserably cold outside. And, you're a kid from the South. It's an adjustment to make. It's easier to make that adjustment over a couple of weeks and months and not just, in the snap of a finger. So they're going to get him on campus this spring sometime. When I hand it back over to you, I'll check if I got a date on that. But he'll be on campus. Bo Jackson will most likely schedule an official visit, and Wallace-Coleman's schedule an official visit. So, I mean, it's been pretty clear that they're pushing for a third. And I think right now everybody kind of knows that case, that the two committed know the story, and the guys that they are targeting know, like, hey, Penn State's got these two guys already committed. If I join, it's going to be three running backs. But I think you just look at what Penn State's done over the last few years when it comes to splitting carries. And Penn State, if you can be on the field and get on the field, they're going to get you carries. And you also look at what they recruited this year, and some of these guys too, is both running backs from the 2024 class can play more than just running back. Both of those guys, in Quinton Martin and Corey Smith, can easily
move to wide receiver,
move to wide receiver, even if it's just for a series or a call of plays. There's a lot of versatility in that running back room. So Penn State's going to find ways to get playmakers on the field, and if they can make an impact, if there's 3 running backs coming in this class that can make an impact as freshmen or sophomores, they're going to find a way to get them the ball. So I think everybody kind of knows the story and knows what the plan is if there's 3. Again, minds can change. These are 16, 17, 18-year-old kids we're talking about. Teenagers are indecisive, so things can change. But right now, I think everybody knows the plan. And I think everybody right now is comfortable with the plan if Penn State can land that 3rd running back.
And I like any of them too. The 3 that you mentioned, they're the big 3: Bo Jackson, Alvin Henderson, and Jabri Coleman. Any of them, Penn State can't go wrong. Kind of like the quarterback situation here with Zollers and Washington. If they're able to land a commitment for one of the 3, because Coleman was committed to Georgia at one point, like you said, Henderson, it has significant interest in Auburn. That one will be tough. And then there's Bo Jackson as well, who is out of the state of Ohio. So like I said, Penn State, as you've shown, there's plenty of talent here at this running back spot. They can move guys around, which is important, what you said, that the running backs could convert positions if they really needed to, if there were that many running backs. And that's a good problem to have at the end of the day.
And the other thing is that, they may not get one of these 3 guys. All 3 may go elsewhere. I mean, I think Syracuse is a contender for Jabri Wallace-Coleman among some other schools. Bo Jackson is a top 100 prospect. He's going to have wherever he wants to go is almost certainly going to take him. They may miss on these 3 guys, but I would almost say if they would land one of these 3 guys, it is truly a rich get richer type, commitment. Because do they need a 3rd running back for this class to be stellar? No. Do they need a 3rd running back for that running back room in 2025 and beyond to be elite? No. This running back room would already be elite with what is committed to this class. But Penn State is never going to turn down elite talent if they can, if they can have that in their program. So I think, even if they miss, it is by no means a failure or any type of major loss. Would it stink if they lost all 3 to them? Probably, but I don't think it's necessarily anything that is going to keep Penn State staff up, for weeks on end either.
And that'll do it for this edition of Locked On Nittany Lions. You can check out Dylan's work over on X and HappyValleyInsider.com. Like this episode, share it with friends and family. Let us know in the comments what you think about quarterback, running back, wide receiver for Penn State's recruiting in the class of 2025. And subscribe to Locked On Nittany Lions on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast if you enjoy these conversations. Dylan, thanks so much for the time. Appreciate it. And we're going to talk some defense on the other side, so stick around for that. But Dylan, thanks again for the time as always.
Of course.
And don't forget, Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's available on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus the national shows covering each and every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on YouTube and the free Fire TV channels app.